Tune in to the Social Impact Show with Sam Marshall, where we spotlight change makers and their inspiring journeys.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. We continue our conversations after 10 with our favorite, well, between Mpilo and I, it's one of our favorite people. We haven't ranked her yet in terms of how popular she is with us, but she is on that list of 1,000. We don't know if she's in the top 10 or in the bottom 1,000. But anyway, she's not. She's not in studio today. We miss you. Charmaine Soobramoney, who curates this experience for us every Tuesday, the Wealth Zen. How are you doing, Mrs. Wealth Zen?
I'm fabulous, Sam, and happy Tuesday to our listeners. I'm sorry I can't be in studio. And just, Sam, I am my favorite, and that's all that matters.
Wow, what a clapback. I don't think I like it. I don't like it when you'll not
get used to it.
You're not the sassy when you're in front of us, but clearly when you're on the phone, you're the sassy. I hope you're good. Thanks, my friend, for availing yourself. And I know that you are doing two things simultaneously. One, you are fighting a vicious cold, so we appreciate you for making the time. And then you're also right now in a conference as well. You're obviously not spreading your germs at the conference. You've joined online. So we appreciate you. Thank you for making the time for us.
Well, thank you, Sam, and thank you for creating the space for us to have this conversation. Today we're going to be just unpacking the A in wealth. So as we know, I'm just going to circle back, Sam, just very quickly for people that have just joined us. The W is for wisdom, the E is for equity in terms of actual ownership as well as fairness. And this being Human Rights Month, I think it's so important for us to actually reflect on that. And we did that a few episodes ago. A is for assets. And I drum this all the time, Sam. We are our primary asset. And we're going to unpack that today. We know L is for love and liability, and T is for time, and H is for health and happiness. I hope I was more healthy today, so I could be there with you. Okay, cool, Sam. Where do you want to start?
Yeah, so I think I love that. The recap is important. I mentioned that as well. But when we talk about assets, and I know that's what the A stands for, we think it's hard stuff, assets like buildings, financial assets. We don't necessarily think of ourselves and the various tools that we have as assets.
Absolutely, Sam. And once we start seeing ourselves as an asset, let me just unpack a little bit as to why we need to see ourselves as an asset, right? Because we are all unique human beings with experiences and skills that are very different to each other, right? And once we acknowledge our power and acknowledge ourselves as an asset, it empowers ourselves to achieve so much more in life. So all these tangible assets, it comes after you build your confidence and you see yourself as an asset. And and that's why I emphasize the importance of seeing your self-worth, building your confidence, building your courage, and viewing yourselves as an asset. Understand what your strengths are and understand what your weaknesses are. And once you're clear on that, Sam, you can actually build yourself using certain strategies. Not just you, Sam, just like Sam and our listeners.
And I think it's important to, and I know you know this, but for somebody who's going and saying, well, I've got a loose idea of what an asset is. Let me give you the actual definition of what an asset is, because I think that's important. And then there are, of course, the tangible and the intangible assets, and we can go through that too, because I think as you read it, you realize that actually you should see yourself as an asset, because an asset is a resource owned or controlled by a person or company that has economic value and is expected to provide future benefits, such as, for example, generating cash flow or reducing expenses. Now, if we had applied that to a human being, could we say an asset is a person who owns or controls their own economic value, their own personal value, and is expected to provide future benefits to themselves? Could we redefine it like that, Charmaine?
Oh, absolutely, Sam. Impilo, our man is on a winning streak today, isn't he? I'm impressed, Sam.
I'm also impressed by myself. I'm not going to lie. But could we?
That is powerful, Sam. Thank you for actually sharing that. That's exactly the intention behind seeing yourself as an asset, because you grow your worth, right? And when you feel valuable and when you see the value in you, you're not looking externally for that. You know your worth, and you'll walk into the room and you'll make magic happen. That's it.
Yeah, and I think it's quite interesting. But then, can we go one or two steps back? If you are listening this now, if you're not listening to this conversation for the first time, you're sitting in your car, you're on your way somewhere, and let's say that you, in your mind, you've never thought of yourself as an asset, that you may suffer from low self-esteem, you might have a history of whatever has brought you to this point where, and some of us, for whatever reason, for multitudes of reasons, we don't see ourselves as assets. We don't see the value. Where do we and how do we become an asset? How do we go back to the drawing board, for lack of a better description? How do we go back to the drawing board so we can see ourselves as valuable?
Sure, Sam. It actually starts with, investing in your education. And I'm not talking about just formal education. I'm talking about like books and podcasts and self-help books and just engaging with a group of people that sees your worth. So Sam, if I may just kind of give you an example, right?
Yeah.
On Thursday night, you and I and a youngster that we took along, Monique, who's 29, South African, Afrikaner, we took her to a book launch, right?
Yes.
And we invested our time and our energy to go to this book launch to support a South African that was in exile that has come back to, and his book is coming home, right?
Yes.
Because we are ambassadors to demonstrate that South Africa is an amazing country and we have a lot of value to give and we're sharing knowledge. And she's a school teacher. The benefit of having Monique there is that she will take this knowledge learned, shared, and take it back to create the unity, peace, great ambassadors within spaces that you and I have no control for. So if we did not invest our time to go there on Thursday, we would not have learned as much as we did. It was valuable, and it was... Sorry, Sam?
No, I agree with you, and it was deeply insightful as well.
Absolutely. So the author is Maureen Corsi. Incredible author, making dynamic impact. So the point I'm making is I needed knowledge. I needed to network because we cannot afford not to network as individuals because it builds your self-worth. And I needed to be around amazing people. And I got exactly that. Being intentional as to what you want and go out and get it. That's one way of investing in your education, formally and informally. Then it's about, Sam, and I think I touched on this, it's about understanding your strengths and understanding your skills, knowing what you're good at, and knowing what you need to improve on. And once you have that clarity, you're on a journey of developing your assets as that valuable asset, as you mentioned, Sam, from an economic perspective. Does that make sense, Sam?
Yeah, it does. You said something very interesting.
I always do, Sam. What's your problem? No, I'm joking.
No, but you said something that it's also about the company that you keep, right? Because birds of a feather flock together. And so how do you, if you're the company that you keep, and I don't want to kind of turn down the tone and the mood here. But sometimes the negative Nellies are our partners, are our friends, are our family. And I don't know if they intentionally do it. I don't know if they are so risk averse that they try and dampen the spirit of the person who comes across adventurous. How do you change? And I don't mean divorce, I don't mean get rid of, but how do you change the temperature in the room if you are aware that the person you are with. And in the past, there's a lot of these sometimes meaningful, 30-second, 40-second, 1 minute, 3-minute sound bites on Instagram and stuff. You can be the change. Don't let the people turn. One of the Stoic stuff is a man walks by himself and travels the road less traveled or less journeyed. You can, instead of telling your enemies your plans, show them their plans. I'm just like, how do you change the temperature in the room if you are surrounded by people that are maybe not as optimistic or as asset driven? They don't understand their own value. How do you change the temperature in the room?
I mean, like positive attitude, and when you show people your self-worth, it can be contagious, but not in all circumstances, Sam. So we can't change people, Sam. You need to be the ambassador to demonstrate the power of progressing and doing what you want to do. So what I do, Sam, is like, obviously, I wake up really early in the morning. The thing that sets my tone is the music, because music is my life. And then I dance, Sam. I know it sounds crazy, but I literally dance to set my tone of the day. And nobody gets me off my high horse, if you want to call it that, because I know what I'm going. And sometimes, yes, there are people in your life, and I've experienced that, family and friends, that wants to bring you down. You need to know how to step away from it, Sam. You need to be able to not entertain that and not let that get to you. Because if you do, they rob you of your energy, your time, and your ability to be creative in a different way. And I know it's not always possible, but it is like there's people in my family, and I haven't spoken for 14 years, and I'm okay with that. Because and you need to set healthy boundaries. Yeah. You have to. For your own peace of mind.
Mel Robbins, who's got this very successful book, Let Them, Let Me, right?
Oh my God. Yeah, I love her.
Yeah, and I was watching this YouTube. I downloaded this video where she talks about conflict resolution and what the rules of engagement are. And I don't want to go off topic because we're talking about assets here. But in many ways, to your point, is you've almost got to do what Pontius Pilate did: wash your hands from certain people and decide that let them be who they are and let me do what I need to do. And then Mal is also very famous for, I think it was the 4-second or 3-second rule or 5-second rule. It's one of the seconds.
The pause.
Yeah, where you actively make a decision and you actively do it. So if you're taking longer than 5 seconds, then you're literally going to stew in whatever has been created for you. But within 5 seconds, you can take an action, and that 5 seconds could be, I'm no longer going to be part of this conversation. I'm going to extricate myself. I'm going to another room, or I'm going to let them say whatever they want, but it will not impact who I am, where I'm going. And that actually brings me to other valuable types of assets. So, for example, there's the tangible and the intangible, if you understand which you do, obviously, from a finance perspective. So what should be or could be, or maybe for you, so that we can learn from it, what is your tangible assets? There's obviously tangible and intangible assets.
Sure. Sam, if you'll allow me, Sam, because I just want to. Okay, the let them thing is actually perfect. I actually practice that. The next time I'm in studio, I'm going to wear my let them t-shirts. And I actually got you a let them gift, by the way, because we've been talking so much about this. So yeah,
that's
I'll
great.
give it to you an
Just remember my producer's around too. So.
Oh, okay. So this is for two of you.
I'm an inclusive guy. I'm just saying, if you're gonna bring me a t-shirt,
that's what life is all about.
If you're gonna bring me something, bring my producer something as well. Yeah, you're saying go.
Boyfriend, I told you and you were upset, so let's start moving.
Listen, I know, but I want people to understand that you've got a very playful personality when you say boyfriend. We don't want a backlash of emails here, but didn't you say Charmaine is married and now she's dating an underaged? He's not underaged, he's in his 20s. But my point when I'm
I get you. I'll take that back.
It's humor, it's banter, because before life changed, we were able to make jokes. So just whoever's upset,
okay, sure.
Just check yourself. Okay. Yeah, you were saying.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, you were saying.
Okay, and then I just want to go through how to develop yourself as an asset, right? And the other thing we need to be, Sam, just 2 more points I think that's critical for us to actually address, and then I'll go back to the question that you've actually asked, right? It's about cultivating your emotional intelligence, and I think it's linked to the question that you actually asked, right? With regard to how to deal with these people in your lives that are not supportive of your desire to build yourself as an asset, right? And you need to be sort of hungry and intentional. And you need to develop like your empathy, your self-awareness, and you need to be adaptable. If you learn this, you'll be able to navigate all relationships and challenges effectively. And adaptability is an episode on its own, Sam. I'll make a note of it so we can actually address that. And, I believe Elon Musk recently said that empathy. Yeah. Somebody just sent me that because I always talk about how important it's to be empathy, to have empathy and practice empathy. And it was apparently, he said it was a weakness. I don't care about what Elon Musk has to say, but I think if you become an empathetic human being, you build yourself. I know you can build yourself as an asset, but don't be so empathetic that you become a doormat. You need to set healthy boundaries. And then 2 more points, Sam. I already touched on networking. It is critical for you to build your network, like all types, like different industries, different people. You need to surround yourself with such diversity that you see the world from such a wide perspective that nothing really rattles you. Because if we just have like blinkers on, then we become so caught up in this one-dimensional world that we find it difficult to navigate through challenges. And that has helped me. That has actually helped me immensely. And I can't reiterate the point of the need and the importance of networking to build actual intangible assets as well as tangible assets. And Sam helped, and just one more point, Sam, because often we digress and then I don't really share the things that people could actually do on a daily basis to build themselves up, right? And it's health and well-being, physical fitness, mindfulness, and self-care. If we can practice that, and I think Mel Robbins also encourages this level of self-care to be able to navigate yourself, your growth, as well as the challenges that we will inevitably face as human beings. None of us will be, I can't find the word, Sam, but help me. You're the journalist, huh?
Yeah, don't put pressure on me when you can't come up with the words.
None of us are absorbed from the ability to experience human challenges. Damn, go for it, right? And when I say health, right, I don't mean you have to go to the gym. Like, I love dancing, so I wake up in the morning and I dance.
Find what works for you. That's what you're saying.
Absolutely. And Sam, I want to make this point, and I think it's critical that I do. My love for dance, I got from my dad. My love for music, I got from my dad. And don't underestimate how powerful we as parents or human beings can be for other individuals. Sam, I think I need to say this. Every single morning, my dad sends me a message and tell me how that he loves me. And when I say dear love and express love, he's amazing, actually. The reason I am where I am, because, Sam, if I can just tell you a quick question, right? So I grew up in an Indian community, right? So if you did Indian dance, you were like amazing and you were a good girl. If you did modern dance, I don't do Indian dance, modern dance, you got labeled names. But my dad encouraged me to be me and just show up the way you need to. So, yeah. So the point I'm making to our parents, to people that you love, don't be afraid to tell them that you love them. Don't be afraid to encourage them if they're different. Don't be afraid, because that also helps influence people to embrace their uniqueness and their self-worth. So, Daddy, thank you.
You go, Papa. At least, I want to... Listen, I wanted to be like super cheeky and go, at least you... No, I can't even say it.
Say it. This is like a conversation to inspire, the conversation to celebrate.
I think I'm going to put my foot in my mouth because at least you know who's your daddy. It's like, I'm terrible. It's a terrible joke.
I can't be cheeky on the show and just playfully call people boyfriends, but you can. Different rules. It's demonstrative of the fact that women don't have equality, do we?
Hey, that's a conversation for another day. We're not talking about that today. We will unpack that. Remember, we are still technically in Women's Month International, which was in the earlier part of March, I think on the 8th of March. So yeah, look, as we wrap up, time flies. So as we unpack this word assets and we've looked at it, we've had this understanding and definition of what an asset is, how to become an asset, what you would need to do. There's a lot of work you would need to do internally. You would also need to, if the environment is toxic, you would need to do some work there. So what is the big, as a final big thought as we wrap up obviously, I'm sure next week we'll look at assets from an actual financial perspective and how to actually build assets. And I think we've touched on it too in terms of equity. Equity also, if you have equity in a business, that's a form of an asset. So, but what's the big think idea as we wrap up in the next 30 seconds?
Oh, Sam. Okay. So I think the big idea that I need to leave everybody with is just be intentional as to how we use our resources. When I say resources, how we use our time, how we use our energy, and how we use our money. Because time and energy, I mean, we all have equal amounts of time in the day, 24 hours. What do you do with it? How do you grow yourself? What is it that you want to achieve? Reflect on it and just plan and make things happen. Planning is one thing, doing is another. So my suggestion is do more of the good to be able to move you in a way that you become an asset, not to yourself, but to your family, to your community, and to South Africa. It is about building brand South Africa and making it the destination for all of us to live in peacefully, but also attract tourism, because it is about growing. Sam, I go on a tangent. Economy. And just, Sam, thank you for this opportunity. Love and light, everybody, and have a fabulous week.
Yes, from your lips to God's ears. Charmaine and Soobramoney, thank you. It's always a pleasure to chat to you every Tuesdays in this segment called the Wealth Zen. And all we're really doing is going on this journey together to collectively build our physical and emotional wealth. And we are hopefully better people for it. Now, here's the disclaimer. You might not always agree with everything, but the idea is to get you to think about things. And that, for me, sometimes, Charmaine, is half the journey one.
Fabulous. Thank you, Sam. Thanks, Impilo. Cheers, everyone.
919 FM, your morning of impact. Sam Marshall shares uplifting stories and conversations with people making Johannesburg and the world a better place.